Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy day 3 of my favorite book, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. We are on day 3. I am on the chapter Effect of Thought on Health and the Body. Yesterday was a long read. It was over an hour. I was a champion and we had some champion listeners and it was so much fun. We are going to finish this book by the end of the week. This is a shorter one. Thank goodness. I should be done soon. This, my friends, is probably the latest I have truly ever been on. So here we go. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Effective thought on health and the body. The body is the servant of the mind. I already love this. The body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed. At the bidding of unlawful thoughts, the body sinks rapidly into disease and decay. At the command of glad and beautiful thoughts, it becomes clothed with youthfulness and beauty. Ooh. So, at the bidding of unlawful thoughts, probably bad or negative thoughts, the body sinks rapidly into disease and decay. At the command of glad and beautiful thoughts, it becomes clothed with youthfulness and beauty. Yes, please, more beautiful thoughts, glad and beautiful thoughts. I'll take all the youth and beauty. Disease and health, like circumstances, are rooted in thought. Sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. Thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as speedily as a bullet, and they are continually killing thousands of people just as surely, though less rapidly. Oof. The people who live in fear of disease are the people who get it. Anxiety quickly demoralizes the whole body and lays it open to the entrance of disease, while impure thoughts, even if not physically indulged, will soon shatter the nervous system. Let me read that again. The people who live in fear of disease are the people who get it. Anxiety quickly demoralizes the whole body and lays it open to the entrance of disease, while impure thoughts, even if they're not physically indulged, will soon shatter the nervous system. Strong, pure, and happy thoughts build up the body in vigor and grace. The body is a delicate and plastic instrument which responds readily to the thoughts by which it is impressed, like we talked about yesterday. And habits of thought will produce their own effects, good or bad, upon it. Men will continue to have impure and poisoned blood so long as they propagate unclean thoughts. Men will continue to have impure and poisoned blood so long as they propagate unclean thoughts. Out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of a defiled mind produces a defiled life and a corrupt body. Thought is the fount of action, life, and manifestation. Make the fountain pure, and all will be pure. Okay. Thought is the fount of action, life, and manifestation. Make the fountain pure, and all will be pure. Make the thoughts pure, and everything will be pure. Change of diet will not help a man who will not change his thoughts. Change of diet will not help a man who will not change his thoughts. One of my favorite mentors, she's a spitfire. She talks about this, how there's people who really are quite obsessed and opinionated about diets and who should eat what, mainly what they should eat. When she goes, you can eat cat food. You can eat cat food. It doesn't matter what you eat, truly, because let's think about half the people on this planet, more than half, the majority, who don't have regular meals or access, or those that are in, third world countries or in poverty, who barely eat off, a piece of bread and, unclean water. And, if you're angry and unforgiving and jealous and judgmental, but you need to get your clean food, that clean food will not make a difference to the poisoned blood and energetic body because of your thoughts. So change of diet will not help a man who will not change his thoughts. When a man makes his thoughts pure, he no longer desires impure food. Clean thoughts make clean habits. The so-called saint who does not wash his body is not a saint. He who has strengthened and purified his thoughts does not need to consider the malevolent microbe. He who has strengthened and purified his thoughts does not need to consider the malevolent microbe. So you're less at the effect of germs and bacteria if you have a clean mind. If you would protect your body, guard your mind. There you go. Yeah, we spend all this time trying to protect our body and try to put good food in our body. But how much attention do we pay to our mind? Do we have a guard truly guarding our mind and paying attention to the health? We don't. We put that on the back burner, and that's really the catalyst and the engine, the driver of it all. I'm talking to myself. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. Thoughts of malice, envy, disappointment, despondency rob the body of its health and grace. A sour face does not come by chance. It is made by sour thoughts. Wrinkles that mar are drawn by folly, passion, and pride. I know a woman of 96 who has the bright, innocent face of a girl. I know a man well under middle age whose face is drawn into inharmonious contours. The one is the result of a sweet and sunny disposition. The other is the outcome of passion and discontent. As you cannot have a sweet and wholesome abode unless you admit the air and sunshine freely into your rooms. So as a strong body and a bright, happy, or serene countenance can only result from the free admittance into the mind of thoughts of joy and goodwill and serenity. So yeah, we're a house, we're an abode, we are a temple, and we need to open up our windows and let the sunshine in, and let it air out and let the light hit. We can't just stay closed up as a house with the curtains drawn, dark, not unopened. We have to let the sunshine in, literally and metaphorically. So, yeah, as you cannot have a sweet abode and wholesome abode, unless you admit the air and sunshine freely into your rooms. So a strong body and a bright, happy, or serene countenance can only result from the free admittance into the mind of thoughts of joy and goodwill and serenity. On the faces of the aged, there are wrinkles made by sympathy, others by strong and pure thought, and others are carved by passion. Who cannot distinguish them? With those who have lived righteously, age is calm, peaceful, and softly mellowed, like the setting sun. I have recently seen a philosopher on his deathbed. He was not old except in years. He died as sweetly and peacefully as he had lived. There is no physician like cheerful thought for dispelling the ills of the body. There's no doctor like a cheerful thought for getting rid of the sick. There is no physician like cheerful thought for dissipating the ills of the body. There is no comforter to compare with goodwill for dispersing the shadows of grief and sorrow. Yeah. There's no comforter to compare with goodwill for dispersing the shadows of grief and sorrow. To live continually in thoughts of ill will, cynicism, suspicion, and envy is to be confined in a self-made prison hole. To live continually in thoughts of ill will, cynicism, suspicion, and envy is to be confined in a self-made prison hole. But to think well of all, to be cheerful with all, to patiently learn to find the good in all, such unselfish thoughts are the very portals of heaven. And to dwell day by day in thoughts of peace toward every creature will bring abounding peace to their possessor. That is beautiful. That is my reading for today. Yeah, there's been a lot of, every good book, philosopher, mystic talks about keep your thoughts on things that are good. And I just posted today on my Instagram on Inside Talk Show, and I'll talk more about it tomorrow on my mindfulness and mindset Zoom. I'll put the link here. You better join. Don't be scared. Live. Me, you, tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. I had a post that was from one of my talks here about, it was Neville Goddard reading, or maybe it was yesterday's reading about, every thought is a seed. Bad seed gets bad fruit. Good seeds get good fruit. And someone asked, maybe she's here. She asked, yes, that sounds really good. Of course, we want good fruit, good seeds, good results. Who wants bad stuff, right? But why is it so hard? How do we do that? And I answered her, it's through repetition. Because let's be honest, why are we so, not obsessed, but we are addicted? Our homeostasis, our baseline is negative thinking. And it's like, it just comes easy. But let's think about what gets the lights, the camera, the action these days. It's exactly what James Allen said in what I just read. Thoughts of ill will, cynicism, suspicion, and envy. That's what's, being thrown around these days, unfortunately. And it's subconscious. It's in our ear. It's in the background. It's on signs. It's on infomercials. It's on social media, Twitter. I'm not even on Twitter, but I heard it's a pretty wild, wild west. So we have to, the only way to change it, it's a habit. You can't focus on two things at once. Your mind can only focus on a positive or a solution, or the negative and a problem, the light or the dark. It's our choice. But if we've been programmed, especially my little diagram, how I always show this. So I always show this guy, right? This is us as adults. We have a conscious thinking brain and a subconscious. This is our mind. We have formed both. We're conscious. We can think for ourselves. But when we're children, we don't have that top part yet. So everything just goes. It's free range into that soil, into that dirt. So for years, since the womb to 8, if we've been programmed over and over and over, the water, that powerful water that formed our canyons until we were 8, we have to then take responsibility. That's our default. All those programs when we were younger, good, bad, or ugly, are the default. So if we find ourselves now saying, shit, man, it's really hard to think positive. Well, don't blame yourself. Just say, oh, well, and just be impersonal about it. Unmesh. Stop beating yourself up and say, those are just my programs running the show. Those are just my paradigms. How we were raised. We had no control over that, but now we have control. We can change it now. And yes, it's work, but once you do it, you've done it. And it's like, if you can just imagine, I think I've used this analogy before, a rocket trying to leave the atmosphere into outer space. And it has to use 98% or the majority of its fuel because it was like, why is it so hard? It is the hardest part to break through the atmosphere. But once it breaks through, it just glides on momentum. You still have to kind of, excuse me, police. I'm trying to do a show here. I don't know if you could hear that. But yeah, just think of yourself as a rocket ship. When you want to break a habit, think of yourself as a rocket ship that has to break through the atmosphere of that old world. You want to leave that old world. You want to leave that habit behind and get out of there. But it's going to take pushing your foot on the pedal, repeating every single day until you break through it. But if we take our foot off the gas, we just fall back into the old world, fall back into our default. I just experienced this week. Like, how the hell am I here again? Oh, okay. I was beating myself up. I didn't take it personal. I was like, oh, this is just my default. This is just the way I was programmed. This is the way I was raised. It's totally okay. I'm going to put the foot on the gas again and I'm going to blast through this puppy. And I'm just going to glide on momentum. And that's when it gets easier. If you've ever broken a habit, it's the hardest. It takes discipline and focus. It takes, and a lot of people quit. How many times do you have to attempt to break a habit before you actually break it? But once you break it, you break it. Once you break through, you break through. But it takes that discipline and the focus. And unfortunately, we get discouraged. We get disillusioned. We give up. But we can always try again. As long as you're alive and as long as you're breathing, you can always try again. You're brand new every single day. So I hope that metaphor made sense. But yeah. So how to break a habit, how to think positive. I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow. It's just through repetition, through affirmations, what we talked about, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. All the videos are here on this page too. You can look at the auto-suggestion, the week on auto-suggestion, the suggestion from yourself to yourself, repeating affirmations, and how to do that. Whatever negative thought, think of the positive one, repeat that to yourself over and over. It might sound like a lie at first, but whatever you tell yourself is true. Whatever you tell yourself must be true for you. So it's not that these negative things are more true than the positive ones. It's just we are focused on them more and they're becoming more true for us because we keep repeating them. So for example, just to throw it out there, if you were told when you were younger, you're ugly. So that was an emotional impact. You were just scarred. It was in there, especially as a kid. So you repeat, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, I'm ugly, but you're not. You're a beautiful person. But that's what's been imprinted and programmed. So if you want to break that habit, you have to tell yourself, I am beautiful. I am so beautiful. And at first your subconscious, your mind's gonna be like, you're a liar, you're ugly. Because that old beast of a program does not want to be overridden. It does not want you to leave that planet, that old world. It wants to keep you back. So I hope that made sense. But anyways, I hope you guys all join me tomorrow in my mindfulness and mindset. I will put the Zoom link in here. Click on it. I look forward to seeing you all, and I will chat more tomorrow, of course, and my reading as well continues for James Allen's As a Man Thinketh. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.